It's time to talk about what comes next. I've spent the last few videos talking about how we organize locally, how we reclaim power from the fascists, how we break the chains of the donor class and rebuild democracy from the ground up. But what the hell are we fighting for? What does victory look like? What's the vision? Because let's be real, defeating fascism isn't an end goal. It's a requirement, a baseline. If we stop there, if we don't lay down the groundwork for something better, we'll just end up in the same goddamn cycle all over again. And that's why today, we're going to talk about the Third Reconstruction and the next great American endeavor, nationalized asteroid mining to fund the New Deal 2.0. A real post-scarcity future. No half measures, no band-aids over a Ebola wound. A true revolution in how this country works. And I know, some of you hear nationalized asteroid mining and think, oh great, here comes the sci-fi bullshit. But I promise you, this is real. This is actionable. And it's the only way we build the future we actually want. First, let's talk about what the Third Reconstruction means. The first Reconstruction after the Civil War was a radical attempt to make good on America's founding promises, abolishing slavery, granting full citizenship to Black Americans, redistributing land, and creating a multiracial democracy. It was brutally crushed by the rise of the Jim Crow South. The Second Reconstruction, what we now call the Civil Rights Movement, forced the federal government to finally make good on some of those promises. But the backlash was just as severe. Neoliberalism, mass incarceration, economic warfare against the working class, another rollback. And now, the fascists are back. They're tearing down what's left. And this time, we either finish the job or we lose everything. So what is the Third Reconstruction? It's the final, uncompromising dismantling of white supremacy, oligarchy, and capitalism as we know it. It's making justice real. Reparations for Black Americans, land back for indigenous nations, economic liberation for the working class, universal health care, tuition-free college, universal basic income, universal basic needs, a complete reinvention of the American economy so that every single person has the right to live with dignity. And how do we fund it? That's where the next great American endeavor comes in. We are sitting on the brink of a second Gilded Age collapse. The oligarchs have drained every last bit of wealth from the system. The economy is a house of cards. The rich have hoarded so much that regular taxation alone will never be enough to fund the kind of transformation we need. But the good news? We don't have to keep fighting over a tiny finite pool of resources here on Earth. Because up there, in space, there is literally incomprehensible wealth waiting to be taken. One single asteroid, Psyche 16, contains more nickel, iron, platinum, and rare earth metals than the entire global economy combined. There are trillions of dollars worth of resources just floating out there unclaimed. And the billionaires, they know this. That's why Musk and Bezos are racing to get there first. Because if they get their hands on it, if they turn space into the next frontier of hyper-capitalist exploitation, we're looking at an economic dystopia beyond anything we've ever seen. We cannot let that happen. The United States must nationalize space mining, not for profit, not for corporations, but for the people. We invest in a public space program dedicated to resource extraction, where every single ounce of wealth from these asteroids is directed back into society. No private monopolies, no tech oligarchs controlling the future. This is how we fund the Third Reconstruction. This is how we make universal health care, tuition-free education, and universal basic income permanent. This is how we modernize every piece of infrastructure in this country. Bridges, roads, power grids, internet access. And eventually, once asteroid mining revenue surpasses tax revenue, we abolish taxation entirely. Not through some libertarian pipe dream, but by literally replacing the need for taxation with endless renewable wealth from beyond Earth. That is the next great American endeavor. That is how we reclaim the future. Now, let's talk about political feasibility. Because the second I start talking about nationalized space mining, I already know what some of you are thinking. How do we get the public to support this? How do we pass it through a corrupt Congress? Here's the thing. This isn't some fringe concept. Americans love big national projects. They always have. The Transcontinental Railroad, the New Deal, the Apollo program, the interstate highway system. Every time we've pulled off something massive, something that changed the course of history, it started with people saying, that's impossible. And then we fucking did it. The trick isn't convincing people that space mining is a good idea. The trick is making sure they own it, not billionaires. We sell this to the American public the same way we sold the moon landing, the same way we sold the original New Deal. We frame this as the moral and economic imperative of our time. When the billionaires fight back, when they try to privatize it, we make it very clear this is a matter of national security. Because if we let the oligarchs get their hands on it, if we let them control space the way they control Earth, then democracy is dead. We have to fight for it now, while we still can. Look, I know things feel bleak right now. I know that under Trump's fascist rule, it feels like we're barely holding on. But the best days of America aren't behind us. They're ahead of us if we survive this. This is what we fight for. Not just survival, not just resistance, but a future that actually means something. A future where the wealth of the stars belongs to all of us. A future where the American experiment finally lives up to its ideals. The Third Reconstruction is coming. The only question is, are we ready to fight for it?